Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general mid-month reading for the sign of Cancer, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the last 2 weeks of February. I hope you're well. I've got the dawn just appearing behind me. It's really cool because like 2 minutes ago it was pitch black and it's just getting bright really fast. It looks really sweet. So I'm using the Pagan Otherworlds Tarot for you today. If you have not seen these readings before, I do them slightly differently to the way that I do the main monthly readings, in so much as we are looking for the lesson. It's an exercise in perspective. I think that there is wisdom or a lesson contained in every interaction or experience that we have if we are open to see it, right? And often we're not because we get stuck in day-to-day stuff, you know. But hindsight's 2020, and we often find that when we look back we can see how all of these things were starting to play out. But we just couldn't appreciate it at the time. So we pull away from this a little bit. We'll pull 3 cards to see what your energy is right now, and then we will pull 3 cards to see why you are there in the first place. It is a spread, I guess, if you will, but certainly an intent that I have been using for myself for years. It's helped me navigate some really difficult and challenging energies, and that's why I'm here doing it for you too. So sometimes the reason why you're in the energy is because something needs to end, or it's preparing the ground for something new to come in, or it's trying to teach you something about yourself. You know, we won't know until the cards hit the table. But that's that. Did I say we'll end with some cards of advice? I can't remember. I just said it now. So tell me about Cancer. Where is Cancer right now, please? So we have the 2 of Cups in reverse. We have the King of Cups. And we have the 6 of Cups. Okay. Well, all cups. Ace of Cups at the bottom of the deck there. Like, it's a pretty emotional time for you right now, Cancer. Interestingly enough, we have the Ace of Pentacles sitting behind that Ace of Cups too. So all right, straight off the bat even, I'm going to say that some of you are going to be taking up with with an X, right? I'll just say that, right? Because that's a really obvious interpretation of the cards that are here on the table, but that's not going to be true for all of you. It's an emotional time for you right now. I'm not sure what the astrology is doing and how it affects Cancer specifically at the moment, but I would not be surprised to know that there was some sort of activation of your emotional center going on right now. Because the 2 of Cups is, at its most basic and obvious, when it appears in the reverse, is a breakup of some description, right? Where in the upright it talks about 2 people coming together with shared goals, shared dreams, you know, an alignment of sorts. It's a peeling away when it shows up in the reverse, and this does not have to specifically speak to partners, husbands, wives, girlfriends, boyfriends, you know, whatever. I've seen it for business partners, I've seen it for close friendships, I've seen it for family friendships, family ships, if you will, family relationships too. It is just somebody who is important to you, who at some point you were in a state of alignment with, because you cannot get to this without having first traversed this. So something has come to an end, or at least you are in reflection about something that came to an end. And what we've got here is the King of Cups, right? There's a great deal of growth going on with you at the moment in the way that you consider why that happened, your part in it, I guess, you know, what part you played in the ending, what part the other played in the ending, what you've learned from it. This is really important because this is a state of emotional maturation. It's not necessarily wearing your heart on your sleeve, but understanding your emotions to the degree that you are no longer ruled by them. And I think that this is important. It's really important, right? Because when you invest in someone emotionally, Cancer, that tends to be that tends to be you. There, you know, you're incredibly loyal, but for whatever reason, whatever this was that broke down here, we see you learning something really important about it, because maybe it's triggered some thinking about, you know, notice how the King of Cups is looking at this Six of Cups here. This is a card of the past. Sometimes it can be the past as far back as childhood or even past lives too, right? But we've got the King sat in contemplation of this Six of Cups. And I think you might have had one catalyzing relationship that's caused this reflection. It's caused you to be sat thinking about this, and you're like, what is all of this about? That has then kind of cascaded and had you looking at everything else too. All of your relationships, maybe even just your past, right? Kind of there's quite an involved energy here that I'm feeling for you. Yes, it's reflective, but I feel to a degree, some of you are looking at yourselves very, very deeply and trying to work out what makes you tick in relationships. I mean, for some of you, you might have decided that actually at this point it's better for you to be single, and it's not necessarily that you've just broken up with someone, right? It's more, I need to learn about myself, and I can only really do that by myself because I tend to lose myself in relationships, you know. Think about the Six of Cups, please. Thank you. We've got the Emperor, that's Aries energy. And we've got the Six of Wands. Yeah, so I think we've got the Ten of Wands at the bottom of the deck here. That is a card of burden. It talks about things being too hard, and I think that things have been hard for you, Cancer, but I don't get a sense of you kind of losing yourself in that anymore, because the Emperor is a card of getting your shit together in a lot of ways. For it to come up here with the Six of Wands is absolutely glorious, but it's all coming out to qualify, quantify, clarify this Six of Cups. This is, you know, if you want to take the Emperor archetype there, you know, an Emperor plans, he strategizes, but he's got an entire fucking empire to run, and sometimes that empire goes to war, and he needs to know exactly what all of his troops are doing at any given point, and he issues the instructions. He tells them how they are going to fight this war, ultimately. This feels like you kind of looking back, and I do think for a lot of you that taking responsibility for a lot of stuff in the past is a huge part of that. Because what I sense here stronger than ever is a desire to put right the things that are within your capacity to do so. You know, you want victory. The Emperor wants victory, and the victory is right there. But the Six of Wands is a butterfly. You know, it's talking about a level of transformation. It's talking about change. And then we've got the Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups here. It's like, this is really powerful energy of new starts there. But it feels really earnest. It's almost like a penny has dropped with you somewhere. And it's like, well, if I want to have a relationship that is fulfilling and equal, you know, I need to get my shit together. I need to work out why it is that it always ends up being this kind of way. You know, it's very, very strong. Let's have a look and see why Cancer is in this energy. Why is Cancer in this energy? Okay, straight. Why is Cancer in this energy, please? Why is Cancer here? Okay, so we've got the Ace of Pentacles, and we've got the Lover's card. Have one more card, please, for Cancer. Thank you. We have the Temperance card. Wow. We've got the Queen of Wands at the bottom of the deck here, and the Nine of Pentacles. This is outstanding, because this is you. This is all about you. Now, I mean, some of you may know I have my Venus in Cancer, and it's the bit of my chart that I've always kind of really hated, because it's the bit that makes me kind of soft and squidgy, right? And that has led to situations where I might have been better served, say for example, with a Venus placement that was a bit more fighty, you know? I don't know if I've explained that very well, right? But I have to say that my Venus in Cancer is probably the part of my chart that's taught me the most. And you feel like you're having a full-on autodidactic moment, like you're teaching yourself about yourself. And it needs to be done outside the parameters of the relationships that you've been in, right? Rather than looking at yourself by way of reflection, you know, what other people tell you about yourself. You're kind of just really looking at yourself, because you want to do things differently. You want relationships to go differently. This Lover's card is a card of union and a card of harmony, but it is also a card of manifestation. Now, like I said, this doesn't have to be a romantic relationship at all. It can be talking about just the ways that you choose to interact with everybody else in the world. You know, that boss who's always, you know, dropping hints and you just pick up all of the work and you just do all of the work because that's what it is, right? A similar sort of energy that sometimes that you can have in relationships too, where the other person really only ever puts in 20% of the work and you carry the rest of it. You know, this Temperance card is about healing, and it does feel like you are bringing healing to yourself, but it is with the expectation that there's something else is going to come next. The moon has just come round the side of the house, so full moon in Leo is just staring at me right now. It's really beautiful. I wish you could all see it. I might take a picture of it in a minute and stick it on Instagram. This feels like a personal revolution, Cancer, and this is kind of a big deal, because as it should be, it's all rooted in your emotions. But with this Lover's card here, I do feel a sense of reclamation. I do think you are reclaiming yourself, and whatever it is that you choose to put your pentacle in, your investment in at a later date, it's got to be right, it's got to be balanced. Like both of these cards talk about balance, you know? These two cards here, this Queen of Wands and this Nine of Pentacles here, I do feel like you are seeing yourself for the first time properly. And it feels profound. And I don't think that you're coming at this in, well, you know, I want a relationship, so I've got to sort myself out. It doesn't feel like that. It's like the ways that I interact with people give me great pleasure, or interacting with people gives me great pleasure. Let's put it like that. How can I do it in such a way as turns out not to be quite so energetically expensive for me as it has been? How can I be independent within a committed situation, whether that is with a partner or a business partner or a friend? You know, how do I stop losing myself? That's how it feels to me. What a stunning moon, that. Get some cards of advice for Cancer, please. Thank you. Next one. Cards of advice for Cancer, please. Skidded right off the table. Wow. Good Lord. We've got the Four of Swords at the bottom of the deck. That's a card of healing, right? It follows on from the Three of Swords, and so it's that point of processing that we get to when we understand what has happened and what has hurt us, and then we kind of we withdraw so that we're able to work on it, right? But it's also a card of taking a break. Taking a break from the way that you have always done things. and giving yourself the space to be able to meditate on that, you know, really reflect on it. The thing is, what's come out here in the advice cards are 2 knights, and I like this very much, very much. First one is the Knight of Swords. Cancer, it's okay for you to advocate for what you need. I think that's what I'm hearing with this card, right? Communication. Too much stuff, right, up until this point has been built on expectation or assumptions, right? And as I'm fond of saying, and my daughter actually parroted back to me the other day, expectations are premeditated disappointments. If you have not discussed with people what you need, you know, you're setting yourself up for failure. I think a huge part of this, though, is identifying what your needs actually are, because I think that's possibly something that you have not been familiar with up until this point. You kind of had an idea about what you thought it was, but in reality it's turning out to be something different, and it's time to start expressing that. Cancer, let people know, because we've got the Fool card here. You know, this it feels like you've been in a state of great revelation, epiphanies dropping everywhere. This is preparing you for a new cycle, without question. But I wonder if, for some of you, it's also asking you to consider the way that you trust, right? Not just trusting, because you can be very trusting, particularly when you give your emotion to people, you know. Consider if there is a different way to still be able to trust people and not lay yourself wide open for, well, abuses, actually, because a lot of people will abuse your emotional nature, your sensitive nature, when they realize that they can. You feel like you're moving into a whole new cycle of life here with this Fool card, and it's one way you get to put yourself first with this Knight of Wands. But it's one way you get to be entirely present. You know, there's a message here about not allowing people's potential to be the thing that drives you on, the thing that attracts you to them. You know, you've got to deal with certainties. What is right here in front of you right now, and how do you respond to that? Not what's behind you, what the future may hold. Like, what is it right in front of you right now, and act on those things rather than, you know, like I said, either side. But all in all, it seems like you're having I don't know, some of this stuff may be coming to you via spiritual download. But I do strongly feel you taking a sense of ownership over everything now. And I feel like you're being quite empowered as a result. It's just going to increase in momentum here, and the more that you can employ this Knight of Swords and this Knight of Wands, the faster the Fool will make his way to you, I think. Right, Cancer, I'm going to leave it there. I hope that this was helpful. Know that I love you all very, very much, and I will see you soon.